I'm on a mission to increase the amount of Sims that can live in my save file, because I don't want to use the small amount of lots that are available to only house one Sim each, but I do want to have more one Sim households, especially for more Sims that my Sims can have as partners or maybe friends or something like that, you know? So I want to increase the amount of Sims that can live in my save file. And how I want to do that is by making more rental homes, or at least I think so. I'm not gonna fully have all of my lots be rental residential lots, but I do feel like I could do some more, and then some lots that are just one house and one household only. So I started off by actually changing or renovating, well, it's not really renovating, but changing up the Elderberry home, because I think that this is a good opportunity to have more Sims in the university world. Of course, the Sims can live anywhere, and even if they want to go to university, it doesn't really matter where they live, though you could, or kind of you have to choose where they will be living for the semester when you're enrolling them. But I think it's nice to have Sims that are in university actually living in the university world. Of course, sometimes I do want to have them just live at home because money, even though it's not that expensive and you can do a loan and it's quite acceptable amount to pay back. But I just think it's fun to have them live in the university world. So I'm now actually making the Elderberry home a little smaller. So this is the house where Ekram and Eleanore and their grandson Rohan are living. And I'm making the house smaller and also adjusting some of the interior to better fit the Sims, because I feel like it's very impersonal. However, they do have personality. So Ekram actually has a high fishing skill, and he has the handling skill, but there isn't much that he can do to further practice his handling skill. So at some point I'm adding the woodworking table outside, so he can work on his handling skill as a hobby outside. And Eleanore loves the outdoors, and she's a music lover, and she has the cooking and the piano skill. However, I don't think they have a piano, so I also added a piano to their house, and I also think I added maybe a violin or guitar or maybe both, so she can practice music, because they're both elders and they do not have a job anymore. I don't know if they ever did. I'm kind of assuming, because their house was pretty pricey. But I think they should be able to live their lives as elders while enjoying their hobbies. So I want her to be able to practice music, and I want him to do his handling skill, and of course fishing too, but can't really do that on a lot because the lot is not big enough to add a place for him to fish. And Rohan, their grandson, there's I think that is supposed to be his bedroom, this small bedroom. You can see it right now because I'm almost done, I think, with their side of the lot. But he has a bit of a kid's bedroom, even though he is a teen and he intends to go to university as soon as he becomes a young adult, or now you could even have him enroll early if he finished high school earlier. But he has a charisma 2 skill, which I found interesting since he is a loner. However, well, that sounds kind of bad, as if loners can't have a good charisma skill. But none of the other Sims in the household had a charisma skill, so I just thought it was interesting that he does have it. But it doesn't matter. I don't mean to shame anyone. I'm also a bit of a loner, or, well, not anymore, but I used to be a bit of a loner. Doesn't mean you can't have charisma skill. However, and he has the writing skill, and he has the academics aspiration. So I gave him a laptop, I think, because he will eventually go to university, and it's very useful to have. But also so he can work on his writing skill more. I don't know if that's something he really wants to pursue. His aspiration is the academic one, so I wanted him to have the option to do or work on his research and debate skill at some point. And I was considering doing that research machine, but I think it would be more useful for him to have his laptop since he has to do studying and maybe write papers and stuff in the future, even though there is an office, so he could also do it there. But I just thought that a laptop would make sense, and I'm pretty sure you can do the research and debate skill in the mirror as well. And I'm pretty sure that eventually I'm giving him one of those debate skill objects. I'm not sure what it's called. However, we're currently working on the second half of this lot because I'm adding a residential rental part where university students can live. So it's almost like a student housing situation, except it's divided in the house of the Elderberry family, and then this part is going to be a separate residential rental. I think that in my game I have it set up as the Elderberry family being the one who owns the lot and does the kind of apartments. I don't know, it's not really apartments, but like the rental situation. And then I was thinking that if I want to play in this house, I'll just have one sim rented, or maybe a household, and then probably have them enable roommates, because you can do that both on your phone and on a laptop. And then you can have roommates in your apartment. At least I'm pretty sure that a feature actually comes with the university pack, the Discover University. So then you can have one room be your own, and then have enough roommates to fill up the others, and then kind of split the cost. I feel like that's a bit of a realistic gameplay situation. I think that eventually there's going to be 3 or 4 bedrooms on this part. But yeah, I just feel like it makes sense to have more university students, or at least I want to have more university students in my game when I am having my sims go to university, and students that actually live somewhere. Because of course you can have a lot of sims in your save file and it's fine, but I just feel kind of sad when they don't have an actual place to live. So I wanted to give them more place to live. And as you can see right now, I have the kitchen set up downstairs, and then on the first floor I have a bit of a living room set up. But I'm actually changing that now later. I actually didn't make this build all in one go. I started it off, and then on a different day I went back to it and decided that I wanted to have the living room downstairs as well, even though there's not a lot of space. But I wanted to add more bedrooms, because I do have, I think, 4 showers in this build, and then like 2 or 3 separate toilets, because I hate it when I'm playing in a build and it doesn't have enough bathrooms for all the sims. But I realized that was a bit too much for the amount of sims that fit in the build at a point. So I think I'm also adding second beds to some of the bedrooms. And then I'm making a different or an extra bedroom where now the living room is. And then the downstairs is kind of small, but it does fit enough, or it does have enough space for a kitchen setup. And then I have that long bar table from the university pack with bar stools. I think I have 3 bar stools, and they can have their dinner there. Or, you know, it's students. Are they really gonna eat at a dining table? Probably not, you know. So I felt like it wasn't that necessary. So they have the kitchen downstairs, and they have a place to sit and eat if they want to. And then they have a couch and a TV set up. And then there's enough space. As you can see, I'm here working on adding more beds to the build. Not entirely sure how many sims it will fit, but at the end of this video I will have some pictures, some screenshots, and also you can see the floor plan. And of course this build is already up on the gallery. I'm also adding some more decorations. I think I'm going back and forth later and adding some more to the Elderberry part, and also changing the outside a bit. Now looking back on it, I wish I did a bit more decorating on the outside as well, because Discover University comes with those cute kind of vines, I guess. I'm not sure what the right word is for it, but those are really cute to add, and I kind of wish I did, but I didn't. And I didn't even have like a budget in mind or something, because I figured that the Elderberry household would own it, so it didn't really matter, because you're not gonna have your sim really buy it or anything. I think that when I set it up in my game for the rooms. Wait, actually, I'm not entirely sure. I also made a different build, which will come online as well, where I had all the rooms as separate apartments. I don't think I did that in this one because that wouldn't really make sense with the Elderberry apartment, though it could have been. But no, I'm pretty sure it's like I said it earlier that I did the 2 separate spaces. As you can see, we're now working on changing the layout and have the living room downstairs instead, so we can have some extra beds upstairs. And I think it makes more sense to have just the entire living space downstairs. It is a pretty small space, but it works out fine. And then there's a bit of a study space in between the bathroom and the bedroom. Now we're going back and forth a lot because I'm just kind of copying some furniture, so sorry about this part. I probably should just cut it out. I did end up putting 2 beds in this bedroom, and they have a place for clothes and they have 1 desk. I think all the bedrooms have 1 desk because they are pretty small bedrooms, but I just thought it would be fun to have a lot of Sims be able to live here. So yeah, kind of cramped, but I think that's kind of realistic for the university experience. But like I said, we're kind of working now on having a bit of a study space here. I did put the research machine here, and also added some laptops. Now we're kind of adding some things outside. I feel like the juice jug, what is it called? The thing that you can get juice from and do those juice handstands. Juice gag, that's the word. Added that outside so they can use that when having parties or such. And I think this is kind of a fun build to use when you're playing in university. Also adding some posters to have some more personality, some more decorations. I feel like I did a pretty good job in decorating the inside. It's not really boring or empty, so that's nice. Now we're back at the Elderberry side of this build. I added a fireplace upstairs, but I'm changing that to actually have a piano. We're now working on Rohan's bedroom, like I told you. I added a desk and a laptop so he can work on his schoolwork. And also he is, if you have the, I think it comes with the seasons pack. If you own that pack, Rohan Elderberry is actually part of Scouts during his teen years. So I added those that Scout board so he can get his medallions, or I'm not sure what it's called. And like I said, I added the piano for Eleanore to practice her music skill. I'm sure she would really appreciate that. I also added some fish decorations. However, this does make it so that another pack is required. Honestly, for this build, it only really requires Discover University, and if you want to set it up the way that I did it with the apartments, it requires for rent. But otherwise, it doesn't really require any packs. It's really just requires a Discover University pack, and all the other packs are just decorational. Well, that was the build, so we're now continuing to the screenshot. I hope you enjoyed this build in this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, maybe even subscribe so you can keep up and see more of my builds. And I want to thank you a lot for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!